So you all can see the agenda?
Yes,
Great, okay. So we've added a couple of items, nothing major, just some updates, just so that you know that we don't have either any representatives from DEP or sanitation tonight. They had other commitments. But we do have some updates on some of these items and we'll go through that. So I'm going to go into the meeting guidelines that we are required to follow. Let me just see. Can you see the guidelines?
yes.
Okay. So as you know, I'll just read. Good evening, everyone. I'm Betty Arce, Chair of the Environmental and Sanitation Committee. This is Bronx Board 7's Environmental and Sanitation Committee. The committee agenda is as follows, and you saw the agenda before. We'll be doing a couple of updates and reviewing the previous minutes, and we'll have any discussions as necessary. On December 21st, 2023, Mayor Adams issued Executive Order 291, extending the state of emergency through January 20, 2023. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section of the video conferencing law, Chapter 56 of the laws of 2022, Part WW. This allows the board to continue remotely. Minutes and video recording will be made available on our website. If you are calling into the meeting on the conference, the controls while joining from landline or cell by calling dial-up number. To hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone, *6, mute or unmute yourself, *9, virtual raise hand. This is how we will run the meeting, and we have a code of conduct now for all our meetings, penalties and actions. Bronx Community 7 has the right to remove and or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation if anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for a ban. The amount of time to be objectively determined by that committee of the participant in the event of repeated disruptive behavior. I'm having problems now with my remote. As I understand it, if it is in person or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace. And I'm sorry, but I can't read the rest of it because I have that little star that's going around and it's not stopping. But the extent of it, the spirit of it is that we will have to call in law enforcement and have the person removed from the premises. If you have any questions or issues about the remote meeting, please contact our office, our DM, or in this case, our assistant DM for any concerns about the meeting. And so I'm going to take this out and I'm having a hard time with this. So you'll have to bear with me. So what I'm going to do now is take attendance. Can you see the attendance? I hope. Everyone see the attendance?
We can see it.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm going to start with attendance. Betty Arce, present. Gwendolyn Thomas Steed. Gwendolyn.
Present.
There she is.
Gwen Speed, present.
Thank you. Helene Hartman-Kutnowski.
Present.
Thank you. Jean Hill. I thought I heard her, but maybe it wasn't her. Okay.
Muted.
She's muted?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so that you'll have to come in. Rosalie Leslie. Hugo Gonzalez.
Hugo Gonzalez present.
Thank you. Lowell Green.
Lowell Green is present.
Thank you. Okay. All right, these are the members. And so you're saying that Jean Hill is muted?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, fine. All right, I'm having problems with this particular document here. So I'm going to go, I'm going to try and move this out of the way. I'm going to stop share for a moment and see if I can reconfigure this here. All right, I'm having problems with my documents. Let me see, go back to the agenda. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can bring up, I made a folder that we have to review our previous minutes from our last meeting, which was in October. And I can't open it. Okay, I'm having problems with my, Carla, I have problems with my.
I'm sorry, I'm unmuted now.
Okay, thank you.
I couldn't figure out how to get it to work.
That's okay. All right, let me see if I can bring up the attendance again. Yeah, I'm having problems. Okay, so Jean's here. I'm having problems with opening Word documents on this. You'll have to forgive me for that. I can't.
That's I can share the I can share the minutes.
Okay, thank you. It's still scrolling. I'm gonna have to see if I can. Do I have to? I'm still sharing, right? So let me.
No, you're not sharing anymore.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. Okay, so thank you. This is from October 11th.
Yes.
We had Steve provided updates. We discussed, we had fall leaf collection, which really wasn't all that successful since we didn't get the bags in time. So I'm not sure if anybody really was able to do that. You can scroll up a little bit. Yeah, thank you. DEP provided some information on a program called the Citizens Air Complaint Program about idling cars or near schools. And then we discussed and we revised our capital expense budget. We decided that we would meet every other month, except that we didn't meet December 6th. Can I get a motion to accept or approve these minutes unless anyone has any changes or corrections to be made?
Motion to accept.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. So now we can move on to the updates. We'll go through. Carla did me a favor and created a document. I can't open that one either. So Carla, do you have the updates?
Yes, I have them up. Let me
Okay, could you open it?
and
Thank you. Okay. So Steve Caruso wasn't able to join us, provided this information, and we'll put this in the chat as well. There'll be a Christmas tree collection. Trees and wreaths will be collected from the Friday, January 6th through Saturday, January 14th. Weather permitting, you just put the tree out without any decorations, take off everything that's on it and put them out on the curb. There's something called the Targeted Neighborhood Task Force. This is a cross-agency collaboration that will result in cleaner streets, more jobs, fewer rodents, and improved quality of life. And what it is sanitation workers under a new unit, Targeted Neighborhood Task Force, for regularly scheduled cleanings of approximately 1,500 no man's land areas around the city, such as bridges, highways, and off-ramps, underneath underpasses, corner lots, and other that may have never been on a regular cleaning schedule. Daily emptying of park litter baskets that are along the fence near the entrance, just inside the entrance, anything visible from the street in addition to corner baskets DSNY already serves. Additional cameras to continue enforcement against illegal dumping, more bike lane cleaning equipment. Okay, so possibly if you have questions about this, and I said, this is the first time I'm seeing this because I got this late today. If you have any questions about this, put them in the chat so I can then share that with DSNY so we can get answers to any of your questions about this. New set out rules, DSNY published final rules that will change waste set out time for residential and commercial properties. The rules become effective on December 31st, 2022, and residents and businesses will be required to comply with the new set out times on April 1st, 2023. That's when it becomes really effective. A summary of the rules is below in the link. I understand that there will be some exceptions made. I think Lowell, you had raised at one point that possibly because of the people that work in your building are union, or they may be have different hours. I understand that they will be making exceptions for some of these, and the superintendent or the management just needs to contact the SNY to make those arrangements as to when garbage can be put out. That may be different from the hours that we're talking about now. Snow laborer registration, DSNY is still accepting applications for snow laborers. So if you know anyone who would like to, needs to, or would like to do this kind of work, they can also contact that, go into the link down there, and we'll put this in the chat as well. Okay, I'm gonna look and see, Chad has a question. That's a question we'll put in, and I'll share it with the SNY. I would think that they're probably going to try to do something a little more intra-agency like, because if they're doing it with parks, they may be doing it also with Metro North, but I can't be the person to ask that. But if you're talking about like subway tracks, Chad, is that what you're talking about? Chad?
Hi, actually talking about the open
Oh,
railroads
like
along the Metro North.
got it. Okay, I'll find out. We'll see how much they can do, whether it's, you know, it may be an issue of safety or whatever, who knows? I don't know, but I'll definitely, you know, take that into consideration and share that with Steve Caruso for answers. Thank you for that. Are there any other questions related to this? That anybody has? Okay. And then the last one is, and I don't know if I put it up, I'll have to pull it up, is the Rad Academy. They're having, they're resuming trainings for January. Carla, did I give you that information? The Rad Academy?
Yes, you
Oh,
did.
there it is right there. I'm sorry, it's right there. So in the link we have, Rad Academy will be resuming in January. I'm also going to discuss with the chair of our health committee to see if we can host a showing of this of the training. It is rather long, so I'll just have to discuss with her to see whether it's something that we want to do or not. You know, again, there's plenty of opportunities for people to be able to see it. But if there's an interest in putting it out on, you know, having it shown by Community Board 7, we'll take that into consideration as well and see what we can do. Okay. Yeah, it is about 2 hours. I thought it was about an hour and a half thereabouts. And if it's live, it may go a little longer, because then I don't think they've taken a lot of questions, but we will, I said, we'll look into that and see whether we can do it or not. Okay. Other than that, I don't have any other information. If anyone has anything they'd like to bring up at this time, here's the opportunity.
Betty, I did want to talk about the CB8. They did a piece on the coyotes in Riverdale.
Yeah.
It was pretty alarming. I don't know if anyone else saw it.
I did, yeah.
You did.
I know that coyotes have been spotted in Woodlawn, on the Woodlawn section.
Oh,
and
God.
Riverdale. Yeah. Well, there's not much we can do, you know.
Well, I think we need to stay on top of it. I mean, it's, you know, the sense I got was that coyotes, you know, that there's very little that will be done, but in Riverdale, people are literally being woken up at night because they're running in a pack. And my concern particularly is we have feral cat colonies.
Yeah.
And I was told that there was a colony in Riverdale that is not there any longer.
Okay.
So, you know, hopefully this is an issue that we won't have to really deal with, at least not anytime soon. But I just think it's something we can, you know, really probably need to keep an eye on.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll follow up and see, you know, let's see if we can have someone come and maybe discuss that with us at some point. And also I'm going to reach out to some of the other community boards and see what's going on. I'm going to reach out to Community Board 8 and see what's going on there.
Yeah, the sense I got was that they weren't that concerned, but there were people that had, pet owners are very concerned.
Sure, understood.
Yeah.
Usually
Um,
coyotes don't travel in packs, but it may be a mother and cubs, young cubs. They're, from what I've read, also the coyotes usually leave the mother at about 6 months old, but some of them are sticking around longer because some of their behavior is actually changing as they're now closer to human population. Their behaviors are changing a bit, so it may look like a pack. It's a family of a mother and her young that are a little bigger than cubs.
Do we know if these animals might be have any health issues, rabid or anything like that? Do we know any of that?
At this point, we don't know. We don't know that until we experience their behavior, see their behavior, and you can't tell.
But they had in the discussion, they had a behavioralist, discussing and saying that the sounds they were making and the behaviors didn't indicate that they were rabid.
Right.
But they were excited about some kill or whatever, and they were howling, and the community was concerned that it was happening every night.
Yeah.
So it's just
Something to be concerned about.
another thing to be concerned about.
Yes, Gwen, and then I'll recognize Caroline. Yes, Gwen, did you have something to say, Gwen?
No.
Okay, sorry. All right, Caroline, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Hi.
I just had a question about some of the rules sanitation has set out. I'm curious specifically about schools in our district that are kind of just leaving mounds of garbage out for hours, I think from like 3 p.m. onward.
Yes.
And then local neighbors like kind of taking advantage of their trash heaps and accumulating their garbage on top of it.
Okay. Yeah. This issue had come up, one of our board members, Lowell, had raised this because her building is near a school. Schools follow the same collection schedule that residential buildings have, and they're also given an additional time because they have so much recyclable trash. But I'm going to find out, do you have a specific school that you can tell me?
Yeah, I think there are 2 schools in the
Okay.
building.
Which ones are they? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm just pulling up their name right now.
Okay.
PS 46.
PS 46? And
Yes.
that's on where?
It's on 196 between Briggs and Bainbridge. It's like half of the block. PS 46 and PS 10.
PS 10. And that's where? Is that the one on Webster? No. Where's PS 10?
It's in the same building.
Oh, okay. So it's a campus.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. All right. I'll follow up and find out what's going on there. Could you put your email in the chat so I can get back to you?
Sure.
And just make a notation, make a little note about, concern about garbage at PS 10 and PS 46, stuff like that. No.
Yeah.
I know what
I've gone through 311 for them.
Yeah.
Sent pictures, put notes, and they kind of just see it as regular trash. So I'm not too sure what to do about it.
Do you have, okay, so just put your information there, and then I'm gonna give you my email address. And also Carla, our DM right now, she has put in her information. So if you can get the number, the 311 reports that you put in and share that with us, okay?
Sure.
Yeah, I just put in my email address. And okay, and I see yours. Very good. Okay, so we'll follow up and see what's happening there. Okay, I know that's an issue, and I've seen that the school on where my granddaughter goes, they put out the garbage, and it seems like it's there. They put it out on a Friday, And it seems like it's there all the time, and you're right. Then what, you know, garbage attracts garbage. So people then start using that. In some of the schools, I don't know if you've noticed, they've received these big bins, these black and orange bins on some of the
Yeah.
schools. Have you seen those?
I have seen those,
Yeah.
and
And they get filled
they
up
were
very
blocking the
quickly.
yeah, they were blocking the sidewalks.
Yes.
So that was like another issue.
Yes, I'm gonna raise that with Steve Caruso as well. Okay, good. All right, so it seems like we all seem to have the same kind of issues. Anyone else have anything? Thank you, Caroline, and please, you know, keep us abreast of what's going on. Yes, Laura.
I see in weird places, illegal dumping.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'd like to have a talk on why do people dump? And it's like, some of it is like when people redo their kitchen and it's a cabinet,
Yeah,
or it's a piece of furniture that I think if you live in an apartment building, it could go out with regular trash.
correct.
So, and I mean, I just like to have a talk, somebody in sanitation, have a talk on what they call illegal dumping and how we can work around that
Mhm.
for, you know, I don't see so much of the chemical illegal dumping. It's more furniture type stuff.
Household, yeah. And it's always at that
Yeah.
corner. I mean, if you think about it, they had to drag that couch or that TV or whatever to that corner when they could have just as left it in their own building, you know, and put it out with the regular trash. Yes. So some people think that it's not coming from the neighborhood, that it's coming from outside the neighborhood, but you know, that's something that we'll have to, and I'll definitely, we can maybe have our next meeting, have just a talk about illegal dumping and how the sanitation department handles most of that. The traditional illegal dumping that is the one that usually like they'll find an abandoned or a quiet street or a strip and then just dump like tires and, you know, construction trash, that kind of stuff. There is a
I'm not
rule.
seeing,
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying that's what's
Yeah.
considered like illegal dumping, like in those kind of areas. But this is the stuff, and I call it in all the time, you know, right on the corner. It's like, it's almost like they must be coming at, you know, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to dump this stuff because it's right on commercial streets. Because that's where our garbage cans are. So it is disconcerting that given the fact that we get a collection 3 times a week, that people can't seem to wait to put their, you know, to get rid of whatever they have. So definitely a good point. So I'll definitely make that something we can add to our next agenda. If we can get someone from sanitation to do that. Yes, Chad.
Yes, so I had asked, could coyote sightings be reported by either 311 or 911?
Yes.
So you're not,
Yes, you can go ahead and do that. Yes.
which,
Yeah.
do you know which one? 311?
Either one. Either one. If you do 311 and if the coyote is nearby, they may just transmit it to 911. But that, like they do with, if you see a stray dog, not a cat, stray dogs usually will sometimes be 311, but if it's like a pit bull or an animal that seems to be aggressive, they'll refer it to a 911. So, you know, you can start with 311, but if you see something that seems a little more disconcerting, very concerning, like it's in your backyard and it seems to be threatening, you know, you or your animals, then you should call and make it a 911. Because more than likely the coyote will be around and then we'll leave, you know, go off.
Chad, I also put a link on the chat
Mm-hmm.
where you can report a sighting for deer,
wildlife.
coyotes, foxes.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? Thank you, Betty.
Mhm.
I saw a swarm of bees in a tree
Mhm.
and I had called this was like 2 years ago, I contacted 311, but the response was that there was nothing that you could do unless you were to hire a company to cure that issue.
Is
just
was
found
this a
that kind of,
street tree? Was this a street tree, a city tree?
it was a street tree on the same block as Target, but it took up the whole block. It
Wow.
was something that you don't see all the time. And I
Right.
just found that weird.
That is strange. That doesn't seem right. That would be Parks Department. Street trees are under Parks. So they have to come and remove the hive if it's a hive. And if it was bees or it was wasps, we don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 311 wouldn't take the complaint for some reason.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna put down so we'll check that. I'm gonna check out that link and see if that also includes information about bees or wasps or whatever. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Yes, Serial.
Yes, good evening. Happy New Year, everyone. Basically, you were mentioning the dumping. Some areas become a known spot for people to keep repeatedly dump on. And in Norwood's, I'm sorry, Parkside Place is a major dumping area, and Webster Avenue up here between Gun Hill and 205th Street. A major dumping area, constantly being picked on as a way to get rid of stuff. Like you said yourself, I don't understand how people can't just put it out with their own garbage and stuff. Now, one thing I heard is auto parts, sanitation doesn't take auto parts, and they won't even pick up tires and stuff. Because I had a conversation with the guys on the trucks, and they said that. So maybe sometimes the city allows certain things, they make it harder for people to easily dispose of things if you can't like just put it out with your regular trash or, you know.
Right, yeah, the tires are one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to do. I think this is a discussion that I think a lot of people in this group are in agreement. We will have this on the agenda, and I will notify DSNY and have them prepared to come with answers like that. So something like tires, you know, what happens if tires are left on the side of the road? Who picks them up? You know, the new, if you noticed before in the updates, the city is having, it's going to start, and I want to go back, and I'll make sure that we put this out. There'll be new rules and new procedures that will also allow for adding cameras. So as an example, if we think that, let's say Parkside Place or Webster Avenue or Bailey Avenue are persistent dumping grounds, let's request that cameras be put, because they're going to be adding cameras now to a lot of these many locations. So we can talk about and ask for them to put cameras there, you know, in those spots where we think there's persistent dumping going on. Does that sound like there's something that we can do, we want to do, you know, as an example? But again, because the update is new, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. I want to make sure that we have the right information. So I'll make sure that either Steve Caruso or whoever from DSNY can come and provide more details on some of these initiatives that sanitation department in the city is taking, including something like that with tires. They do disappear after a while. They go someplace, so somebody's picking them up, but they're not picked up with regular garbage. There are events, and I had, I'm going to find it and put it in. There is every month a special event where you can take household dangerous goods, and I believe including tires or whatever, to the DSNY facility out in Hunts Point. So if you have access to a car and you have all these kinds of, you know, paints and toxic materials, you can take it over there. But be that as it may, I think that we need to have that kind of a conversation and get some clarification on what's going on, because we do have areas along Webster Avenue and places that are somewhat secluded where people take advantage and dump their stuff that they don't want to take it to a gas station or to a tire place or whatever. So we'll definitely, this is a conversation we'll have. Caroline, and then I'll come back to you, Chad. Chad, are you, your hand is still up. Are you still have another question? Okay, Caroline.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The
Uh,
question was just, could we get a safe event on the west side of the Bronx instead of just going to Hunts Point?
You have to build a facility for that. It's not about, these facilities are, they've been there for a long time, so it's not something that they can easily do, but we'll raise it. That's like asking them to build a whole nother facility and putting it someplace in our part of the Bronx. The reason it's where it's at, it's secluded, it's away. I don't think anybody wants something like that in their neighborhood. So, and we don't have, the real estate for that kind of facility. Okay,
Got you. Thanks.
Caroline?
Hi, yeah, I'm sorry, I had one more thing I actually forgot about. So I manage a community garden in the district. And we're having an issue with leakage from the back of a building onto our property and onto another property. It kind of smells like sewage, and 311 hasn't been able to get anyone from the city to come help us.
Okay.
They say that we have to pay for it, but it's like, how do you ask a regular plumber to look at a crack in the back of a building that's possibly leaking sewage onto our garden?
Can you, again, in the chat, put in the address of the community garden? And
Yeah.
I'll see what we can do. I'm not sure. This is a new one. So the leakage is coming from the building, right? You're saying?
Yeah, so we're on Bainbridge Avenue and the garden cuts into the hill that is like 194. So
Okay.
it's a building that faces Briggs, and where the back of that building is like cracked and leaking into two buildings now.
Okay. All right. Just put the information in the chat and we'll follow up. It could be that we'll need to approach the management of the building.
That should be. on
I
the
think that's to be Green
environmental.
Thumb. Yeah, so you can get, Caroline, you can get in contact with your Green Thumb point of contact. Is it a Green Thumb garden?
No, we're a Bronx Land Trust garden.
That should be Department of Environmental.
Or Department of Health.
Well, we have to see.
Yeah,
Health
I've
is
reached out to
good.
those.
You did?
Yeah, they just kind of send me in a loop.
All right, we'll figure it
Sounds
out.
right.
I
Okay.
think I've done health, HPD.
All right, send us the information. We'll, and you've contacted all the agencies that we've just described, HPD, DOH, DEP.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, so,
Got to contact your councilman then.
Well, that's, yeah.
no, they're contacting us and we can help with that. So we'll do that. We'll see what we can do. All right?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Caroline. Helene?
I have two things. One, is there any news on the organic recycling
No, it's
coming to our area? Because I thought they said that it was starting up again.
No, they're starting up again, but what they're doing is they're adding drop-off points, not to the point where they're doing curbside collection.
Right, but anything in our area or nothing yet?
Well,
Drop-off.
Lowell just said that on King's College Point, Lowell?
You're muted.
College Place,
Yeah.
College Place.
King's College Place.
That there's a
They've added-
drop off?
There's a new bin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that. That's good news.
Okay.
The
Well,
other thing is, I'm sorry, just one other thing. Just from the conversations in the chat, I think we may need to have a talk about feral cat colonies, because it does feel like people are not aware of them or understand the value to them.
okay, I know, you keep asking me to do the.
I think, and everybody loves it, and people really don't understand.
All right, I'll need to update my presentation and I'll put it on a future
Thank you.
agenda. Okay. Feral cat colony management and TNR, which is what I do. So I see AJ.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about, can you hear me?
Yes. Mhm.
With global warming, more of this wildlife will be coming to the neighborhood. We have the Bronx River, we have Van Cortlandt Park. We need to be
Right.
welcoming and accepting of these animals, not try to kill them all. Awareness to the negligent pet owners would be one thing, but we can't
Correct.
just fear monger because they're coyotes. These animals lived here before us. We destroyed Marshall Parkway's river where they naturally lived, and now that the water is finally clear enough in Bronx River and in Van Cortlandt, we should welcome all of our inhabitants and constituents. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, we need to, they were here before us. But that is all to say that we just need to know how to coexist with them and not be afraid of them and not harm them. So there is, and I don't think anyone wants to harm them. I just think people just don't understand how to coexist with them. I get raccoons in my porch, my backyard all the time, and they're there. There's nothing much I can do about them. Okay, I'm gonna take. I think what I saw. Chat keep going in and out. Syria, you still have your hand up? You have something else?
No,
Yeah.
I wanted to, they mentioned organic collection. Is that considered compost?
Yeah, the
Stuff is
composting.
compost?
Yeah, the
Yes,
composting.
they had put out these brown and orange bins
Mhm.
located near the schools, because there's one at 56, there's one next to PS 8, and also the one that the Lowell mentioned at the King's
College Point.
College Point.
Place.
So it seems like the schools are the locations of compost bins, but I don't know, how do you open them up to put your stuff into them?
You're saying you actually saw brown bins at these schools, not the black and orange ones, which are for garbage?
No, this is a brand new compost bin because it has it has compost written across it.
It might be the school's composting that they put out.
No.
It's for anyone?
This is done by the sanitation.
Okay, we'll find out. You said compost bins at, what were the schools again?
PS 56
Mm-hmm.
on the Whole Avenue
Right.
corner.
PS 8?
PS 8 there on Marshall Lou, the one right next to
Right.
the mural with the
Right, okay,
with the squirrel.
yeah.
And then the one I didn't see the one down there. I only drove by them. That's why I don't really know what's going on.
Okay, all right.
Typically visited.
Okay, again, questions for?
Elizabeth from Marshall Lou said that you're supposed to open them up through your phone, whatever that means. I mean, I'm not.
Oh, okay, we'll find out. I'll find out.
Yeah, I thought maybe they would have notified you about these new bins because
They should.
Well,
nobody.
I put down, these are, I put down update on compost location sites and the ones at these three.
That must be
schools.
what they meant by the location site. Right?
Okay, all right, yeah.
'Cause
They
you
were
gotta
looking for,
put it-
they've been looking to add, and they've been asking people where they think they should be cited, throughout the community board.
In the future, how much stuff can those things hold? And are we allowed to put leaves in them? Just that, my own curiosity.
Anything that's compostable, unlike the ones that some of them, I know that when I was doing, getting my organic waste picked up, I was allowed to include bones and those kinds of things. But there are some composts that won't take any of that, except it has to be just food scraps only and leaves. Anything like that is compostable, but the city, when I was doing it, getting it done, they allowed me to include some other things that are not included by some of the composters, so. All right, AJ, you still have, you have another question or concern?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Hochul just legalized human composting. I don't know if the board can get more information on that. The
We'll
rising
put that
costs.
down, we'll put
Yeah,
that down. I've heard about that.
They're crazy, those costs now. So if we have any information on hopefully doing a green burial, that would be lovely. Thank you.
That would be nice. To be buried under a tree or someplace like that. Yeah, I've heard about that. So I'll ask about that as well.
The mob's been doing that for years.
But it's legal now. It's legal now.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. Very good, thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions? So before we continue, when people were coming on, I want to have also a discussion about personal responsibility around, trash and garbage. The city's doing what it can by moving back the hours when trash is on the sidewalk. I had mentioned earlier that rats don't wait for the garbage to come out on the sidewalk before they attack it. They are already eating where your garbage is contained. So I'm asking people to take a photograph of where your garbage. I'm a homeowner, so I just put out my garbage. I have containers from my garbage and put my garbage out. But as I walk through the neighborhoods, I see good practice and bad practice of how superintendents or management handle where garbage is contained especially in apartment buildings. So if you live in an apartment building, if you can take a photograph of your garbage, of how it's managed and contained and dealt with, and send it to me, to my email address, I'd appreciate it. I'd like to see what's going on and to have a discussion and bring that to the attention of DSNY on how we need to be as responsible as we're asking the city to be, what would be the word I want to use, to be caring about taking care of the garbage that's out there. I said alternate side street sweeping is like two or three times a week, is for an hour. Once that street is swept, garbage is piled up back on it because property owners have to be responsible about cleaning up as well. I know that if you walk down the street any morning, you can see a lot of trash out there. A lot of houses don't clean up. They don't do anything. We in our budget request, we've asked for additional money for enforcement, to bring staff on to do enforcement. But we also need to do education. We need to get people to care about keeping our streets clean. So it's not just rats, it's also us. Sweeping and picking up and having a consciousness about keeping our neighborhoods as clean and as green as possible. So take a picture of where your garbage is maintained, send it to me so that I could then look at it. Thank you. Yes, Serial.
Yes, a point to point. Would like to point out also the new thing of blowing anything in front of the building right into the street.
Oh, leaf blowers, yes.
Leaving it there.
Yes.
Garbage and leaves. They're saying that they're blowing the leaves, but I notice all the garbage gets blown into the middle of the street and it's just left there.
That's correct. Well, that's another issue that
there's no sweeping and using of a shovel or a dustpan to pick up anything.
Correct. They're just getting lazy, and they're putting it into the gutter. And then when it rains or whatever, or it just gets pushed into
down the sewer.
Yes, and down the tube. Yes, you're right. And that clogs things up. So when it rains, then we have flooding. So again, this all again goes to the issue of you have to be responsible about whether it's you're a resident, you're a property owner of a commercial or a residential home. A lot of our merchants are still, they do a terrible job of maintaining and stores what really gets to me are stores that are open like almost 24/7. So they have lots of opportunity to clean up and they don't, and they just leave it out there. That really gets to me as well. So anyway, I'd like to get as much information. Caroline, I see your message. Yes, you're right. There are, and that's why I wanted to see how buildings may manage. I mean, Caroline raises the issue of the capacity of some buildings. I mean, not only do they have to collect garbage, they have to maintain recyclables throughout the week, and they only have one day during the week at which they can then deposit and put their recyclables out. I know that it's an issue. I know it's a concern, but they have to find a way to do this better, and we have collection. Unless we go to collection almost every day, then we have to figure something out Large buildings, I've been into, when I do cat trapping, I sometimes have to go into all kinds of buildings. And some of the older buildings have a lot of space in the back, you know, like you go in through an alley and then there's all this open space. And they're not using that space to put out sufficient numbers of containers. I mean, they have the space for it. The other issue is that there's some buildings people are afraid to go into where the garbage is kept because it's dark, it's dirty, so it needs to be maintained. So those are the kinds of things I just want to have a discussion about, because it's not just the garbage is on the street, on the sidewalk, it's also what's going on inside buildings. But that's where the rats live. They're not living on the street, they're living underground, where they know where the food is at, and it's in our buildings. And if people are not doing a better job of at least collecting their food waste and food scraps, you know, bagging them up, freezing them, bagging them up properly so that they're not opened up, we'd have a, you know, it would be a lot better. If we can move again to doing curbside organic collection, then having those brown bins would be are wonderful, because you can throw your food scraps in there until they get collected. So it's again, it's a question of really teaching people proper waste management. I'm going to take Chad and then I'll take AJ. Yes, Chad.
Yeah, so another question came up and I forgot to reach out to you about this. There's some areas where stray cats always hang around. People tend to feed them. I'm not certain, maybe you know the answer to this. Is there a way that we could, where someone can be directed on how to protect the cats or move them into a different environment where instead of them being constantly fed as a stray, but they can be moved into a different type of environment so that they wouldn't be part of the issue with the feeding? I don't know what the term is called.
It's called trap, neuter, and release. And it's also, these are animals, many of them are feral and they can't be moved. They don't know any other place. They will come back to that same spot. The best that we can do is trap, get them neutered or spayed, and then release them back so that they don't keep reproducing. And educating the feeders on putting food out for a period of time, make sure the cat eats, and then remove what's left over. And that's what I basically do with people that I know. I tell them, put out enough food for the cats to eat and then remove it. And a lot of people are doing that. Some people are a little more lazier and leave it out, but most of the cats eat it. That's not what rats are eating. Rats are not eating that food. What we just want to make sure is that the people who are feeding cats put out a plate and then remove the plate so that it doesn't get thrown by, you know, blown around by the wind. But feral cats are feral cats. I will trap, and if the cat is friendly, I will take it in and I will try to find a home for it. But that's very difficult because it's a long process. And I don't have enough space in my home to keep a cat for that period of time. And then we do have organizations that will work with stray cats, but a stray cat and a feral cat are two different things. A stray cat is a cat that is friendly. You can pick it up, you can hold it and take it in and find a home. A feral cat is a cat that, as much as you feed it, has been born outside, is not used to human contact very much. And if you try to relocate it, it will come back to where it was born. So the best we can do is learn to manage these colonies a little better and make it cleaner for them wherever possible. And we include shelters. We help provide shelters so that the animals have some place to stay. But when I do my presentation, I'll bring that up as well.
Okay.
What we do ask the feeders is that please remove the cans, please remove the plates once the cat eats, and just throw all that stuff out so there isn't that, you know, garbage all over the place. AJ, you're next.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
for the pictures, did you want like a picture of the garbage room or like when they bring it out to
Yeah,
the front
right,
of
a
the building?
photograph, yeah, however your building contains, and not so much what's outside, because that I know, you know, when the gap, it's inside, you know, where your garbage is, where you take your garbage.
All right, because I live in a building, there's usually like a tap card downstairs, so people
Okay,
don't
yeah.
always go in, so I can understand
Right.
you want pictures of like
And
things.
that's the kind of, yeah, exactly, whether it's open or closed, it's lit or whatever. Yeah, I just want to see what that looks like. Thanks. Okay. Any other questions? Anything else anyone want to raise? Hugo, let me see what you said. I have feral cats in my courtyard. Okay.
I just
Yeah. The cats and the feral cats do keep rats away. They do keep the rats away. I have 8 feral cats. They're all spayed and neutered, and they live around my property, my house. My neighbors are marvel that there isn't a mouse or a rat that ever comes around my house.
Right.
You'll see the rats scurrying at somebody else's house. I have several private houses on my block. They're scurrying back and forth. I can put garbage out. They will never come around my property. So, you know, they serve a purpose. Oh, okay. Perhaps we can put up a Google form survey page about Partonville and garbage areas, cool. I like that. I like that, Hugo. Okay, we'll work on that. Let's get the pictures and then I'll work with Carla and Jade on a Google Doc. That'll be great.
Sorry, Carla, more work for you.
That's all right. It's okay. We'll work together.
That's okay. We'll work it out.
So it's a form, it's just like a survey form about apartment buildings, garbage areas, metal or plastic bins, adequate lighting. Love it. I love that. Because I have noticed that there's a big difference, and some buildings are going to have to start taking out, paying for larger bins if possible. I know that Caroline raised the issue of capacity in some buildings, but I've noticed buildings that have at least maybe 50 units in the building, and they don't put out enough, they have the space. They do have the space to put out enough garbage bins or cans or whatever they need to do that can close, as opposed to just leaving it open, where that's what I'm saying, that's what the rats go in. They go into an open can or an open bin, not waiting for the bag to go out on the sidewalk. That's not what's going to keep the rats from going in. They're already feasting. They've already eaten what's in there. I think I like that idea of seeing how we can look at that. And I like that. Thank you. Yes. We'll see, survey at least what's going on in our neighborhood. And I need the help from everyone because you all live in different parts of the district. So anything that you can do to help would be, to bring light to what's going on would be great. Okay.
Maybe 2 pictures at least, one at nighttime or one at daytime.
Whatever, however you want to show, this is the good day. This is not, what it looks like when it's all filled up, I've been to Helene's building, and it's a big building, and yet I think sometimes I've spoken to the superintendent at the building because we've been trapping cats in that building. It's not a very large area, right, Helene? You're on mute.
They have metal cans, rather plastic, and they have tops, but they never close the cans.
Right, and I see that all the time. I see it throughout the neighborhoods. I'll walk and I will see open cans, and it's like we're defeating the purpose of trying to keep vermin from getting into our trash cans. So they need to go to cans or containers where the lid comes down, as opposed to those metal ones that you can remove and put on. So I think eventually the city's going to have to start moving in that direction.
Making it mandatory.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So anything else? Our next meeting, we're going from, we're doing every other month, but all it is to say, and the next meeting is actually my birthday. So I think it's my birthday on that day. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it's not. It's the day before my birthday. We'll see. No. As a matter of fact, it's the week after, the 7th. Is it the 8th? February 8th, I think it is.
No, it's February?
Yeah, the first Tuesday in February is going to be
7th. February 7th.
Yeah, okay. If I'll have a discussion with Carla, and also I'll have a discussion both with Steve Caruso. I think it's enough that we probably will want to meet next month, okay? Because I think the issues are percolating. So I'm more than happy to have a meeting next month. So we will see how it goes. There's some thought that we may be having virtual extended even into next couple of months. I don't know, Carla, I don't know what you think.
I mean, it's really not up to me. We'll see if the if the executive order gets
Extended?
extended. I mean, there's a new strand out there, I heard.
Yeah.
I haven't read much about it, but we may be remotely for a little longer.
Okay, all right. And if not, then we will need to find a meeting place, okay? If it's not next month, then we will move it to March, but I think there's enough for a good discussion for our next meeting, especially around the issues that we raised today. And then at some point, I would like to look at our budget requests and see where we need to start having our elected officials come in and discuss those things with us where they think they can be helpful and help move our agenda along. Okay. All right. So with that said, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second by,
Second motion to adjourn.
thank you very much. Everyone have a good evening. And again, Happy New Year. And we'll be in touch. Take care, everyone.
All right,
Bye-bye.
good night.
Okay, good night.